Respect isn't begged for, it's priced and paid for access. That's the quote I want you to hold in your chest from the very first second. Here's the hard truth, my friends. People don't change when you explain harder. They change when the benefits stop. When the free favors end, when the emotional pillow disappears, when the door of your time and attention finally locks, something shocking happens. Regret starts talking for you. That's the value blackout. No favors, no comfort, no access. Short hook. This is the moment your silence becomes the loudest sentence you'll ever speak. Hey folks, imagine this. You're a power station that's been lighting up a whole city for free. Everyone plugs in. Nobody says thank you. They run their parties on your current and then blame you when a bulb flickers. One day, you walk to the breaker and flip it. Click. The music stops. The room gets honest. That's what a value blackout feels like. Or think of yourself like a high-performance sports car that's been doing free taxi rides for people who keep slamming your doors and spilling coffee on your seats. No more rides. The engine still purrs, but the keys are in your pocket now. My friends, it's not revenge, it's maintenance. We were told a lie, that kindness means saying yes endlessly, that love means comfort without consequences, that loyalty means no boundaries. No. As Marcus Aurelius said, you always own the option of having no opinion. Translation in simple terms, you don't have to argue your worth to anyone who profits from your explanations. You can choose silence over debate. You can choose distance over drama. You can choose your peace over their convenience. And yes, sometimes that choice looks like a blackout. Here's the eye-opener. Most people don't feel your presence while they have it. They feel it when it's gone. They don't notice the water until the well runs dry. They don't value the bridge until it's closed for repair. Loss aversion is real, folks. The mind screams louder when it loses a benefit than when it gains one. When you stop the emergency favors, when you stop being the 3 a.m. therapist, when you stop answering every ping in 30 seconds, the brain on the other side starts asking hard questions. Why can't I reach him? Did I push too far? Was I entitled to something I should have earned? That's not you being cruel. That's the reality of teaching. Now, let's break a few comfortable lies. If I set boundaries, I'll lose them. Maybe. But if you never set boundaries, you'll lose yourself. If I don't explain, they'll misunderstand me. Maybe. But if you keep explaining, they'll deliberately misunderstand you because it works. If I stop helping, I'll look selfish. No, my friends, you'll look like a grown-up who respects their energy budget. And yes, we can laugh a little. You know that moment when you answer a message too fast, and then they go silent like they mailed the phone to the Arctic. Not today. Not this season. We're not sprinting after people who walk away with our time in their pockets. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Let's put it in our language. I want less from them and expect more from myself. That's wealth. That's power. When you lower your wants, you raise your standards. When you stop funding what drains you, your life gets louder and calmer at the same time. And here's the beautiful twist. The moment you create a value blackout, you stop trying to deliver your message with speeches. Your choices deliver it for you. No favors, no comfort, no access. The door doesn't slam. It simply doesn't open without respect, honesty, and consistency. That's not a punishment. That's a policy. Stay with me. We're going to build this step by step. But first, press like, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you're here for every move we make next. Drop this in the comments to lock it in. I protect my peace. Number 1, the switch. What a value blackout really is. Respect is not requested, it's recognized when access ends. Let that land first, because this is where the value blackout begins. Not with noise, but with a boundary that doesn't blink. My friends, they won't wake up because you explain harder. They wake up when the benefits vanish. They don't hear your paragraph. They feel your absence. And when the door that used to swing on demand finally locks, regret starts learning its lines. Picture this. You're a lighthouse on a jagged coast, shining for every ship, even the ones that never signal back. Night after night, you burn, you warn, you guide. They grow used to your beam like it's part of the sky. Then one night, you conserve power, not out of spite, but survival. The sea gets real. The captains finally check their maps. That is the first point of a value blackout. Or imagine you're a well in the center of town. Everyone draws water. Few say thanks, and some even kick the stones that hold you together. One hot season, you cap the well and rest it. You're not cruel. You're preserving the source. Thirst clarifies priorities. Silence clarifies character. They will ask themselves questions they never asked when you were easy. Why can't we reach them anymore? Did we mistake generosity for obligation? Have we trained them to prioritize us over themselves? Who are they becoming that we no longer have a pass to their time? These questions echo louder in the quiet than any argument ever could. That echo is where responsibility starts, not on your tongue, on theirs. Here's the lie we're going to break today. If you stop giving, you'll look selfish. No. If you stop giving to what harms you, you'll look healthy. If you don't respond, they'll think you don't care. No, if you don't respond to disrespect, you're teaching care its correct language, consistency, not convenience. If you raise standards, you'll lose people. True, and you'll also lose chaos. The right ones don't fear standards, they're grateful for them. The wrong ones don't fear losing you, they fear losing your labor. We're not negotiating with fear today. Why is this difficult? Because your nervous system has been conditioned to sprint whenever someone whistles. You got good at emergency empathy. You learned to anticipate storms before clouds formed. You have history, chemistry, memories, and a highlight reel stitched together by hope. That reel loops whenever you try to set a boundary, and then the guilt arrives dressed like kindness. Be honest, you've tied your identity to being available. It felt noble. Sometimes it was. But the noble can become neglected when it starves your own life. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. The outside event is them wanting access. The inner power is you deciding whether access is earned. From a psychological angle, they've been operating on intermittent rewards. Treat you lukewarm, get your warmth. Treat you late, get your quick reply. Offer nothing, get everything. That slot machine conditioning is powerful. Sometimes they pull the lever and get a jackpot, your attention, your fix, your help. Other times they get nothing. The unpredictability made them chase more, not less. Your blackout ends the casino. No more levers, no more jackpots, no more hope that mistreatment can still pay. Loss aversion will do the talking now. Losing what they assumed was guaranteed hits the brain 10 times harder than gaining something new. They called your generosity normal. Today, normal ends. They will get spooked. Expect pushback, jokes, bait, and tests. Expect the "just a small favor" message, the "you've changed" jab, the "I guess you don't care" trap. Expect the nostalgia bomb, the old photo, the inside joke, the long memory lane to unlock short-term access. This is where you breathe. This is where you remember that discipline is a better friend than dopamine. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom looks like ignoring the hook, even when the bait tastes like the past. You are not starving them, you are feeding your future. Let's talk fear. You fear being misunderstood. You fear becoming the villain in a story you never authored. You fear they will replace you, tell others you were unkind, or walk away forever. Here's the relief. People committed to misunderstanding you will do it whether you explain for 10 seconds or 10 hours. The cure is not more explanation, it's better alignment. Alignment means your actions declare your values without a speech. No favors because standards, no comfort because accountability, no access because self-respect. Alignment turns your life into a sentence even your critics can read. You might think, but what if they needed me? Need is not a free pass. Need without responsibility devours the giver. Your help has to make things healthier, otherwise it's a subsidy for dysfunction. If they truly need you, they'll meet the standard that grants access. If they won't, that's their choice, not your failing. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Bravery is declining the role of savior in a story written by someone who refuses to rescue themselves. Let's ground this with a small, slightly funny truth we've all felt. When you reply in 3 seconds, they take 3 hours. When you reply in 3 hours, they take 3 days. It's not personal, it's psychology. Urgency communicates scarcity. Availability communicates abundance. When you make your energy artificially abundant, its perceived value drops. Pull back to natural scarcity, not games, governance. Your time is not an all-you-can-eat buffet. It's a reservation-only restaurant, and the dress code is respectful. They will feel the blackout in stages. First confusion, why is the faucet dry? Then frustration, why won't it pour when I tap it? Then reflection, did I treat the faucet like a button, not a person? Your job is not to narrate those stages. Your job is to maintain the policy. A boundary is only as strong as it's quiet. If you argue for it, you imply it's negotiable. If you apologize for it, you imply it's wrong. If you enforce it, you teach everyone, including yourself, what your life costs. And here's the motivation you can carry into your next choice. When you end the free rides, your engine runs cleaner. When you cap the well, your water runs clearer. When you dim the lighthouse for maintenance, your beam returns brighter. You don't shrink when you stop overgiving. You finally grow where you were leaking. The right people won't just accept this, they will rise to meet it. The wrong people won't chase you, they'll chase the next easy outlet. Let them. You're not an outlet, you're a source. Number 2, no favors, ending the convenience economy. Generosity without boundaries isn't kindness, it's currency that buys your own exhaustion. Let that sting a little, my friends, because this is where the value blackout bites. No favors for those who treat your effort like tap water. They don't respect what costs you nothing to give, and for too long, your default was, sure, I'll handle it. Not anymore. Today we shut down the convenience economy they built on your back and called it love. Picture your life like a premium gym that used to be free entry. People stroll in with muddy shoes, scrape the equipment, leave weights everywhere, and then complain the mirrors are smudged. When membership becomes paid and rules are posted, the crowd thins, but the ones who stay get stronger, cleaner, more focused. That's what no favors does. Or imagine yourself as a battery pack everyone borrows. They never return it fully charged. They pass it around at parties, and when it dies, they look at you like you broke it. No favors is you unplugging the cord and saying, if you want power, build your own source. They will wonder, why now? Why are they not jumping like before? Why does every quick ask meet a calm, firm line? Did we confuse their kindness with obligation? Did we mistake the emergency exit for a revolving door? These are the questions of boundaried life forces on people who are comfortable. You don't need to lecture, the rules radiate through your actions. If the request drains your peace, the answer is no. If the task rewards bad behavior, the answer is no. If the favor erases your plans, your sleep, your standards, the answer is no. Not because you're cruel, because you're coherent. Let's break the lies that kept you stuck. Good people say yes. False. Good people honor commitments, and the first commitment is to steward their energy so they can actually show up where it matters. It's just 5 minutes. It's never 5 minutes. It's 5 more minutes after 20 years of being the default option. If I don't help, they'll struggle. Maybe. But if your help keeps them from learning, your help becomes harmful. Stoically speaking, you're choosing the virtue of justice over the vice of people-pleasing. Justice includes you. This shift is uncomfortable because your body associates saying yes with safety. Approval felt like oxygen. The nods, the "you're a lifesaver," the temporary gratitude, those were small dopamine hits that trained you to sprint. Dark psychology calls it intermittent reinforcement. You don't get appreciation every time, but just enough to keep you hooked. So you kept pouring, even when the cup was cracked. No favors seals the crack by removing the pour. The rule becomes simple. I don't do what helps dysfunction survive. I support growth, not shortcuts. I support change, not repetition. If you want a bailout, call the bank. If you want a breakthrough, show me your effort. Expect pushback that comes dressed as politeness. Could you just, since you're already up? You're so good at this, it'll take you 2 minutes. Translation: you're skilled, so let me outsource my effort to you. Watch how the tone shifts when you respond. That won't work for me. Not angry, not defensive, clear. If they escalate, guilt, urgency, the dramatic sigh, remember, emotional volume is not evidence. People turn up the volume when the logic is thin. Hold the line with quiet courage. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. If the request isn't right for your life, you don't do it. If the story you'd have to tell yourself to justify it isn't true, you don't say it. Here's a small honest laugh we can share. Ever notice how the folks who say, "it'll only take a second," almost never offer to do anything that takes a second for you? That's the convenience economy's first law. Their seconds cost your hours. We're done paying in hidden fees. We're putting prices on the menu. You can still be generous, just stop being unpriced. You can still be helpful, just stop being automatic. The difference is your filter. Does this request align with my priorities, or does it punish me for having them? What about emergencies? Real emergencies reveal themselves quickly. They come with accountability, not entitlement. I know I've asked a lot. I'll handle what I can and only ask for X. That's responsibility. But, hey, I dropped the ball. Can you carry it for me? Again and again, that's a pattern. No favors is how patterns finally meet their mirror. You don't need to scold. You simply don't participate. You'll feel fear in your chest, the fear of being labeled selfish or difficult. Look closer. That's not selfishness. That's self-respect waking up after a long sleep. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Who would you be if your energy wasn't a public utility? Calm, focused, present. Who would you be if every yes actually meant yes, and every no protected the future you're building? Strong, consistent, free. You don't need 100 boundaries. You need one policy. I do not subsidize what steals from me. Over time, no favors changes your environment. The ones who stayed for the free labor drift. The ones who value fairness lean in. Your calendar gets honest. Your sleep deepens. Your work sharpens. Your relationships transform from extraction to exchange. You begin to notice who contributes clarity, who brings chaos, who matches energy, who drains it. And with that clarity, your compassion gets better, not smaller, because it flows where it actually helps. A clean no is kinder than a resentful yes. There will be days you wobble. Old habits knock, old guilt whispers, old highlight reels play. When that happens, return to this image. You are a builder. Every time you say no to the wrong brick, the wall of your life gets straighter. Every time you say yes to the right brick, the house becomes a home. Builders don't apologize for blueprints. They follow them. Lock it in by typing this in the comments, simple and strong. No favors for chaos, then breathe. This isn't you becoming colder, this is you becoming clearer. Stay with me. Next, we take on the comfort supply and switch emotional morphine for real accountability. Number 3. No comfort. Emotional neutrality that starves the drama. Comfort without accountability breeds the very pain it pretends to soothe. Let that line sit, my friends, because this is where the value blackout takes away the emotional morphine. No more soft pillows for sharp behavior. No more soothing speeches for the same old storms. No more, it's okay when it isn't. This isn't cruelty. This is clarity. They don't learn from what you cushion. They learn from what you stop cushioning. Imagine you're a campfire, everyone gathers around. They toss wet wood on it, stomp near the edge, flick sparks into dry grass, and then shiver when the flame drops. You, being kind, keep feeding the fire with your own dry logs, your own breath, your own patience, until you're cold and out of air. No comfort is you stepping back from the ring of chairs and letting the weather speak. If they want warmth, they bring wood and respect. Or picture a lifeguard diving into a pool every time someone refuses to learn to float. At first it looks heroic. Later it's a pattern. They don't float because you always dive. No comfort means you're still the lifeguard, but now you throw a float and wait for effort. They will wonder, why does their calm not melt like before? Why isn't the usual apology followed by a blanket and cocoa? Why does silence meet our chaos? That's the mirror arriving. Without your reassurance, storylines lose fuel. Without your pep talk, rationalizations sound thin. Questions crowd the room. Did we mistake kindness for endless cushioning? Did we expect reassurance instead of offering repair? Did we lean on their empathy like it was an ATM? The quiet answers, honestly. Let's break the lies. If you love people, you keep them comfortable. No, if you love people, you keep them accountable. Comfort is a gift after change, not a substitute for it. If you don't reassure them, they'll think you're cold. Maybe. Or they'll finally ask themselves why they keep needing reassurance for the same behavior. If you go neutral, they'll think you don't care. Neutrality is not neglect, it's nerve. It says, I care enough to stop participating in what hurts us. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. When you say, it's fine, and it isn't, you lie to them, and you betray yourself. No more lying in the name of love. Why is this hard? Because your body learned to be the buffer. You can read people's weather like a barometer. One look, and you start building a shelter out of your own peace. You anticipate blow-ups, absorb moods, translate tone, defend their intentions. You became so skilled at emotional first aid that they stopped bringing bandages. And let's be honest, a part of your identity enjoyed being the hero. The comfort giver gets quick thank yous and temporary peace treaties. But the hero is a costume. Steady is a character. The costume's shiny. The character is costly. No comfort chooses character. From a psychological angle, drama hunts reactions. Anger needs a volley. Victimhood needs a rescuer. Stonewalling needs pursuit. Your neutrality starves all three. Dark psychology calls it feedback deprivation. When there's no payoff, the behavior decays. That doesn't mean you ice them out. It means you stop supplying emotional subsidies. Calm voice, short sentences, clear boundary. No lectures, no play-by-play, no courtroom where you object. They perform, and nobody changes. You refuse the stage. The show closed from lack of funding. Expect tests. They may send the accidental bait text, the melancholy playlist, the midnight confessional, the dramatic sigh across the room. They may throw a small storm to see if you'll grab the umbrella. Smile inside. You know the weather trick. Offer the adult path. I'm open to a real conversation when we're both ready to fix, not spin. Then sit in your chair like it has a back. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastery here is resisting the irresistible, the urge to patch what they keep ripping. Let's lighten it with a truth we can laugh at. Isn't it funny how a quick chat about the same issue has the magical power to last 3 hours and end with you apologizing for having feelings? That's comfort's trapdoor. You enter to be kind and fall into a maze. When you go neutral, there's no maze, just a gate. Respect in, chaos out. It's not icy, it's efficient. What about compassion? Real compassion respects cause and effect. If your comfort erases cause, it also erases the effect, and nothing grows. Compassion says, "I'm here when you're ready for repair, not reassurance." Compassion says, "We can be warm after we're honest." Compassion says, "I don't abandon you, but I won't abandon myself for you." That line keeps love from turning into labor. You will feel the itch to explain your neutrality. Don't scratch it. A boundary defended with a paragraph sounds like a debate. A boundary defended with behavior sounds like a principle. Principles don't plead. They invite alignment. If they want warmth, they bring responsibility. If they want comfort, they bring corrections. If they want access, they bring effort. Otherwise, the room stays at room temperature, steady, calm, breathable. Over time, no comfort does something beautiful to you. Your nervous system stops living on red alert. Your sleep stops bracing for sirens. Your mornings stop inheriting last night's drama. You become someone your future trusts, because your calm is no longer for sale, and they change too, if they choose to. Without your cushion, their choices meet the floor and bounce back with feedback. Growth sneaks in through the door your comfort used to block. Let's put a simple picture in your mind for the moments you wobble. You're a thermostat, not a thermometer. A thermometer reflects whatever heat it's given. A thermostat sets the temperature of the room. When drama spikes, thermometers jump. Thermostats stay set. You don't match the storm, you model the climate. Lock this in with a short line that retrains your reflex and tells the world what season you're in. Type it in the comments, calm over chaos. Then breathe. You didn't turn your heart to stone, you turned your standards to steel. Stay with me. Next, we close the third valve of the value blackout. No access. When access changes, entitlement loses oxygen. Number 4, no access. Boundaries end the era of entitlement. Access is the quietest currency. You lose power the moment you give it away for free. Sit with that, my friends, because this is the third valve of the value blackout, and it's the one that changes everything. No access doesn't mean hostility. It means governance. It means your time, your space, your attention, your energy. These are no longer open seating. The era of call whenever, drop by whenever, text me 10 times and I'll jump is over. The door is still there. The lock finally works. Imagine your life like a world-class museum, masterpieces everywhere. Your focus, your kindness, your discipline, your peace. For years, you let people rush past the velvet ropes with greasy fingers, tapping the glass, setting off alarms, then laughing because you silenced the siren for them. No access means the ropes are back up, the alarms stay on, and there's a ticket, respect, honesty, consistency required at the door, or picture an airport gate. Flights don't leave when random passengers wander in. They leave on a schedule. Your attention is a flight. It departs on purpose, not panic. Miss the boarding time? There will be another plane, but not a private jet summoned by entitlement. They will feel it. The unscheduled calls slide to voicemail. The midnight texts meet morning replies. The drop by becomes set a time. The open calendar turns into a map with borders. They'll ask themselves, when did we lose the pass? Did we confuse their warmth for weakness? Did we treat their attention like tap water? Why do we suddenly need a reason to be in their space? These questions are exactly what access was hiding. Access without standards breeds entitlement. Entitlement without consequences becomes invasion. Let's break the lies that kept you unlockable. If I make them a schedule, it'll seem difficult. No, adults schedule, adolescents demand. If I don't answer right away, they'll think I don't care. No, if someone measures love by response time, they're buying attention, not building relationships. If I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, I'll miss something important. You will miss something. You'll miss the habit of abandoning yourself. What you'll gain is a life that runs on priorities instead of pings. Why is cutting access so hard? Because your nervous system got trained to anticipate alarms. You became the human emergency button. Someone else's anxiety rings and your body answers. You felt noble being the 24/7 line, but nobility without boundaries becomes neglect. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Outside events, their texts, their knock, their calendar. Your mind, the gatekeeping mechanism that decides whether to open. Power is the pause between the ping and your plan. From a psychology lens, reducing access activates two big levers: scarcity and contrast. Scarcity says what is rare is valued. Contrast says everything after you will be measured against what you consistently provided. When your attention is not on tap, its perceived value rises, not because you're playing games, but because you've stopped flooding the market. And when you move with calm, scheduled presence, chaos looks sloppy by comparison. Dark psychology adds a third lever: control collapse. Those who were used to tugging strings and watching you dance will tug and feel nothing. The puppet has a spine. When influence evaporates, insecurity swells, and with it, regret. Expect tests, the urgent message that somehow can wait until you cave. The "we need to talk now" text with no specifics. The pop-in, "I was in the area." Your response is the policy, not a performance. "I'm available tomorrow at 3 or Thursday at 10. Happy to talk when we're both calm and can focus. Today doesn't work. Send context and a proposed time." Notice the difference. You didn't argue, defend, or explain the value of your boundaries. You simply enforced access with structure. The policy does the talking. You keep your peace. Let's add a bit of honest humor here, because we've all lived it. Isn't it wild how the people who say it'll only take a minute never include the 30 minutes of recovery your brain needs afterward? That minute is a Trojan horse. Inside are 5 detours and an energy invoice. No access means scanning for Trojan horses before you roll them past the gate. What about loved ones? Access is not love. Access is logistics. Love thrives with clarity. Tell them the new map. Here are my focused hours. Here's how to reach me in a real emergency. Here's how we plan time together. When people know how to connect, they stop yanking the fire alarm just to see you show up. That's not cold, that's secure attachment. Security is predictable, not perpetual. You'll feel guilt at first. The phantom buzz in your pocket, the itch to check, the pull to prove you're still nice. Breathe. Put the phone face down. Set windows for messages and windows for deep work. And remember Epictetus. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Who would you be if your attention weren't hijacked? Clearer, quieter, stronger. What do you have to do? Guard the gate. Over time, no access recalibrates the room. The loudest voices quiet when they discover volume doesn't purchase entry. The respectful ones rise because clarity is an ally to the sincere. Your day starts to look like you designed it instead of survival mode furnished it. You feel your momentum stack, work compounds, rest actually restores, relationships breathe at a healthy pace. And on the outside, the ones who were there for access drift. The ones who are there for you adapt. That's not loss, that's sorting. Think of yourself as a fortress with bridges instead of walls. Walls say never, bridges say by design. You lower bridges for trust and raise them for turbulence. You don't burn anything, you operate the controls. The moat isn't pettiness, it's the distance where your discernment can see clearly. If they're upset that you have a drawbridge, ask why they needed you undefended to feel connected. Let's seal this with a picture you can pull up when the old reflex returns. You are a firewall. Requests come in, some safe, some malicious, many distracting. A good firewall doesn't hate the internet, it filters it. It allows what aligns, blocks what harms, and logs what tries to breach. You're not anti-people, you're pro-priority. That's what grown peace looks like. Lock it in with a short line that trains your gatekeeping muscle and tells the world around you which era just ended. Type it in the comments. Access follows respect. Then breathe, settle your shoulders, and stay with me. Next, we'll break down the mechanics that make regret spike after the blackout, scarcity, contrast, and the uncertainty gap that silence opens. Number 5. Scarcity mechanics. Why regret spikes after the blackout. People don't value what's common, they worship what's scarce. Hold that in your chest, my friends. This is the part most never see coming. After the value blackout, no favors, no comfort, no access, regret doesn't arrive by magic, it arrives by math. The mind runs a quiet calculation. What was abundant is now rare. What was assumed is now earned. What was free is now priced. Scarcity doesn't make you better than anyone. It makes your value visible to everyone, especially to those who blurred it before. Picture a marketplace at dawn. For years, your stall gave away fresh bread. Warm, fragrant, endless. People grabbed a loaf on their way past, crumbs on their sleeves, no eye contact, no coin. One morning, the table is empty. The sign reads, "Closed for inventory," and the air smells like nothing. The line that never formed suddenly appears in memory. They remember the weight of your bread, the warmth in their hands, how it carried them through the day. That's scarcity correcting memory. Or imagine a river that once ran beside every house. Kids splashed, people pumped, nobody asked who kept it clean. Then drought, no sound, just the heavy quiet of a dry bed. That's when gratitude grows teeth. Scarcity gives memory a spine. Why does regret get loud here? 3 forces switch on at once. First is loss aversion, the brain's brutal bias. Losing a benefit hurts more than gaining a new one feels good. They didn't notice your calls when they came. They notice the silence now. They didn't clock your reliability. They clock the absence of it with interest. Second is the contrast effect. Everything after you gets judged against the baseline you built. If new people deliver half presence, half truths, half effort, the mind compares automatically. Your steadiness becomes a ruler laid over chaos. Third is the uncertainty gap. Questions with no answer multiply. Why can't we reach them? Is this permanent? Did we mistake their kindness for obligation? The human mind hates open loops. Your blackout opens all of them. Add one more gear, cost revelation. When you were giving, it looked easy because you were good at it. Excellence hides effort. Scarcity exposes cost. The late-night rides, the emotional labor, the way you remembered details, the way you answered before the second ring, all of that had a price tag your nervous system paid. When you stop paying, they finally see the bill. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." For years you said, "It's fine," when it wasn't. Scarcity corrects the language. It says, "This was never free, I was footing the bill." They will cycle through the predictable stages. At first, casual confidence, we'll get them back on the line. Then irritation, why are they difficult now? Then anxiety, did we push the good thing too far? Then bargaining, a soft message, a memory, a half apology built to reopen the gate. Notice, none of those require you to perform. Scarcity does the teaching. Your job is to keep the policy. No favors, no comfort, no access. Steady and simple. You are not a riddle to be solved. You are a standard to be met. Let's break the lies that keep people blind to this. If they really cared, they would have valued you before. Not always. Many people don't value water until they're thirsty. Awareness often follows absence. If you were truly valuable, you wouldn't need scarcity. False. Diamonds and dust have the same carbon. One is compressed, guarded, and rare. Scarcity doesn't invent value, it reveals it. If you set limits, you're playing games. No, games manipulate expectations. Limits manage resources. You're not teasing, you're stewarding. From a dark psychology angle, the intermittent reinforcement that once kept their habits alive now boomerangs. Before, they behaved poorly and sometimes still got your attention, a jackpot every few pulls. You just close the casino. With no payoff, the behavior decays, but the mind still chases the memory of jackpots. That chase is regret's treadmill. Add in the Zeigarnik effect. Unfinished stories stick. Your silence becomes the cliffhanger they can't skip. They replay the last scenes, your last calm words, your last boundary, the last time you said, "This doesn't work for me," and wonder what the next episode would show if they had listened. There's humor here if you squint. Ever notice how the moment you stop answering in 30 seconds, they discover the ancient art of writing complete sentences? Suddenly, there's punctuation, context, even courtesy. Scarcity upgrades grammar, it upgrades effort, it upgrades everything because it upgrades expectations. You didn't become superior, you became specific. The price is printed on the menu now. Respect, honesty, consistency. No coupon codes. You may feel the tug to soften scarcity. Just a small favor, just a quick call, just this once. Remember, scarcity only works when it's real, not theatrical. You're not withholding to provoke, you're reallocating to protect. Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Who would you be if your attention obeyed your purpose? Focused, reliable, to yourself first. What do you have to do? Keep the gates where you set them. Not as punishment, as policy. Over time, something elegant happens. Scarcity changes not only how they see you, but how you see you. You feel your time acquiring weight again. You feel your yes gathering meaning. You watch chaos bounce off the perimeter instead of bursting through the door. And in that quiet, your work compounds, sleep restores. Training sticks, reading deepens, relationships calibrate. The world didn't get easier, your boundaries made it legible. And yes, regret sharpens on their side. The mind compares, your steadiness versus new inconsistency, your listening versus new performance, your integrity versus new theatrics. Contrast writes the verdict you never needed to argue. It's not triumphalism, it's arithmetic. They're not haunted by your speeches, they're haunted by reality's math. If you wobble, use this picture. You're an alpine lake, once trampled by tourists who left cans on the shore. The park closes the access road for a season. Fewer footprints, clearer water. The same lake, finally visible. Scarcity didn't change the water, it protected the view. That's you. Lock it in with a line that tunes your reflex and teaches the room what era has begun. Type it in the comments. Scarcity protects value. Stay with me. Next, we hold up the mirror that silence always brings and let accountability do the talking.